Let us treat our homeless with a bit more dignity and respect. The option should not be live, sleep, then die on the streets. Come. Join the fight. What a beautiful and righteous sign. Short and stink, man. John McDermott. Got here at 6 a.m. putting these signs together with the people. This guy is like Malcolm X. Wait and see. Hey, that is me with the bullhorn. Let us all listen to what they have to say. Sweet. Check out the police. Following my lead. Sweet. Check out the crowd. Walking proud. Soon to be shouting loud. Finally, City Hall. Imagine what the security check is like for all these homeless to get inside this building. This is fantastic. Look at all these people. My phone is ringing and it is Steve. Let me direct him over here. Sit back and listen to the sound of success. Hey Robert. What is up? Glad to see you.
What is up, Eric Ship Talk? This is fantastic. Can you believe this?
Rob, do you remember in like the second or third cartoon when we were in the flesh? We were wishing for a gang of people.
Let's be honest. In our wildest dream we never thought this many people would show up, let alone the homeless. I am real proud of us.
The march from CCNV was ridiculous. Tom Howery brought 35 homeless from Father McKenna Center to meet us at CCNV.
And did you see all those guys that met us on the way and were waiting for us? A lot of them were the fruits of my works. I saw guys from New York Avenue, Adams, Emory, and 801.
Yes, Robert, you did a great job as always with the outreach. The People's for Fairness Coalition really is in touch with the homeless in our city. Thank you.
Eric, you're so connected. I bet you know every last one of these people.
Hey Eric. Robert. Hurry up.
It is John McDermott.
Brothers. What is up? You just made it. Michael Brown is about to address the crowd.
The face of homelessness has changed. We have people that are working 2 or 3 jobs that are homeless. We have young people going to school every day. We ask them to get good grades and they don't even know where they're going to be sleeping at night. That is unacceptable in the District of Columbia. It's unacceptable in the nation's capital. We will not let that happen. So keep knocking on these doors. Just because there's a recession and the economy is bad does not mean that we need to balance the budget on the backs of the less fortunate in our city. We will not let that happen. Keep up the fight. Thank you very much. I'm right there with you.
Pretty good. I am enjoying this.
Well, I am enjoying all of this. Especially our tour guide. She is cute.
And when I'm idea, I would have been homeless. You know, and now they talk about making cuts to that. And my question is, well, what are we supposed to do? I mean, really. And like Jim Brand once said, frustration reaches a certain level. Something got to get done.
This was awful nice of Councilman Jim Graham to get us this room.
Hey Eric, that is me, the handsome guy sitting down, schooling you.
Okay guys, do not start. Let us do this for our audience. Be silent, concentrate, and reflect.
Good idea, John. Mayor Great, DC Council, DC government and citizens of DC. Meet your poor neighbors, many of whom will be sleeping on your street,
In your backyard or on your front porch.
Or in front of your place of business. Or in front of your child's school. And certainly at their playground.
Despite what the Washington Post editorial board says, there were real cuts in this budget. We eliminated, or the budget proposes to eliminate, supports to the homeless in non-hypothermia season. It proposes to eliminate interim disability assistance for those that are waiting, that have had an injury, that are waiting to be approved by SSI. That a number of the supports for homeless and for others have truly been cut. It's a myth that the mayor did not propose a budget that truly cut the budget, and you're here to bust that myth. Let me say that the work on behalf of everyone, I think, is beginning to bear fruit. I feel like there's a shift in the building. I feel like, and hopefully you will see that with the council members that you see. But I know that the mayor is looking at a proposed alternative budget. Now I realize it should have been the first budget to begin with, not the second budget. But it's also a credit to the other council members here that are fighting on all of our behalf. It's not just me. You've got a good friend of Jim Graham, who you've watched. You've got a good friend of Michael Brown. And we always have Marion Barry with us. And then the other piece to this is that a lot of people are also beginning to realize that what happens to one can happen to all of us. And so in this budget process where we really fund our values, it's more than just adding up how many dollars here and how many dollars cut there. That the Fiscal Policy Institute really did something that I thought was very impressive, and that's they asked the DC residents, what do you think? We've gone through a tough time. Are you willing to pay a little bit more, if you can, to help the rest of the citizens that need our support? And the majority of the city, what they found in that poll is what I found when I ran for re-election. When I ran for re-election, anybody that saw any of those debates, I said, you know, it looks like we may have to raise your taxes. And you know what the residents did is that they re-elected me with a large majority, understanding that everybody shares in our prosperity, everybody shares in our pain, and that we have a good city. We just have to challenge our council members and our leadership to appeal to the best of all of us, that we're one community. And so that's why you're here, and you're showing that it's not just one person, you know, yelling against the wind. It's a very large community. So thank you. Good luck in the building. And I think you're going to find more support. It's growing, and that means that you're beginning to win the battle.
All right.
We have a very strong ally in the Honorable Councilmember Jim Graham, who is here to address this crowd and who has co-sponsored this event for us this afternoon. Councilmember Graham.
Hello, everybody. First, let me say how very important it is for each and every one of you to be here today, because we are joining arms in what is a fight, and it's a fight to give voice to those who otherwise were about to be ignored in this budget. And let me put this to you as plainly as possible. We have about a $300 million budget gap. That's what we started this whole process with. And what the proposal is from the mayor is to raise taxes on the highest incomes in the District of Columbia. Actually, to restore a tax rate that was in place in 2004. A proposal, by the way, which I've introduced. This is the third year. And that would raise $18 million. So keep that in mind. $18 million from somewhat of an increase in the highest incomes in the District of Columbia. So that closes $18 million worth of the gap. But what this proposal also does is it turns to those who are homeless and it says, we need 19 million from you, 1 million more. And then it turns to those who have been on TANF for 60 months and it says, we want 7 million from you. We're going to reduce your TANF benefits and ultimately end them, even though we don't have in place training and education programs. What we have in place for your transition is really cold soup warmed up. Nothing new. And then we're going to get 1.5 million from interim disability assistance. Imagine this. You're fighting with the federal bureaucracy to get an SSI determination. All you have in terms of income is food stamps. And IDA gives you $270 a month. What a princely sum. So that you can combine that with food stamps, and you can combine that with whatever your wits produce, and somehow survive while you're tackling the federal bureaucracy. So, from the homeless we get $19 million. From TANF we get $7 million. From interim disability payments we get $1.5 million. So add that up, and it comes out to about $27 million. So from those who have everything, we get 18 million. From those who have nothing, we get 27 million. Now I ask you, does that make sense to you? No. Because those who have the most should step up to this plate. Yeah. Everybody wants to have independence rather than dependence. How many people in this room want to be independent?
That's right.
All right. But you need a hand. You need a hand to get to independence. We have no magic wand that says, okay, you've been unemployed all your life. Now, would you go get a job, please? So we want $3 million for new programs, not cold soup warmed up. New programs dealing with training and transition for TANF recipients. The other thing about TANF to keep in mind, and as you go through the building, say this to people, is that there are 31,000 people receiving TANF benefits today in the District of Columbia. 14,000 of them are children. 70% of those are under the age of 10. And that tells you who the real victims will be here. Right. Because if their parents don't have a job, if their parents aren't able to get the training, who is going to pay the most? It's going to be the little babies in our city. So anyway, but we're on our way. Please go to these offices today. Tell them, I know you got other goals and ambitions, but please include, of course, homeless services. We need $19 million. At least putting off the TANF cuts until we have training programs in place.
That's right.
And then let's keep this $270 a month for those who are struggling to simply survive. So I thank you all very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes.
You know Tommy Wells did us well when he chaired over Human Services, but I think we are in great hands with Jim Graham.
Jim Graham is passionate, with great empathy. He is in this fight for us and with us. God bless Jim Graham.
Off we go to see Chairman Brown. Let us listen to the sounds of success as we move with purpose to his office.
Hint. This is about to get real interesting up in here.
Yes, it is getting hot in here. I want to take off all of my clothes. Just wait a minute or so, you will feel the heat too.
For those of you who have been with us during the duration of this tour, you will find that there is nothing to see at this tour stop. And the reason for that is because
we voted for it.
if we have, if we have cuts to our safety net services, a lot of us will be left with absolutely nothing. And that is the reality in our safety net reality tour. Just so you know the truth about the cuts, there was no 1% to these cuts. There was no real budget that's painful. That's not true at all. In reality, $130 million from Human Services was cut. That means 2/3 of all budget cuts came from the Department of Human Services. For some background, in the last 4 years, a total of 33% has been cut from the Department of Human Services. So this is a trend that needs to stop, and it can stop on May 25th, 2011, when the council votes. Now, for those who are familiar, you hear Save Our Safety Net speak a lot about progressive revenue and how if we introduce a progressive income tax structure, we can share the burden via our tax dollars. Well, our chairman here, Chairman Kwame Brown, said that it was his #1 on the agenda to remove the mayor's proposed tax increase from the proposed budget. So he is avidly not a supporter of the tax increases. So for that very reason, some of you all have some dollars and we need those donations so we can give Kwame Brown the money that he needs to restore those services. So pull out your dollars, put them in the air. There's someone coming around and taking donations. Remember to save one for your respective council person, but please donate to Save Our Safety Net Services because we all need to help create one DC.
Oh, and by the way, his door is locked. He won't let us in. He's locked his door. He shut us out.
What a coward!
He's our public official. We voted for him, and yet we can't get in his office. Okay, then you want to come?
Excuse me. The he that he's referring to.
Knock it down!
Everyone, we want to calm down. We want to calm down. We want to remain calm because we don't want to disrupt government functions. Yes, ma'am.
Lost his mind now, huh? It's making the chairman.
Well, I'd like to bring this up, and we have one more speaker from Homeless Services. But before that one speaker for Homeless Services comes up, we have a member of the walking tour that has something that she would like to say, and I agree with what she has to say, so I would like for her to share it.
I didn't know you were from a lot of chair people say that they support the budget, okay, because they want to go along to get along, but they're not willing to do what it takes in their voting to actually do the things that excuse me, they're not willing to put themselves in the line, is what I'm trying to say. So I think that if these council members or chairmen at large, that we should not vote for them.
Yeah.
Coming next term.
You just got that job.
I'm not going to vote for them.
So we have some of your constituents, some of your neighbors stating that because our council is unable to speak with us, particularly our chair, she is making a pledge today at the Safety Net Tour to not vote for him when election time comes. And she wanted to share that with the rest of the Safety Net Reality Tour. Because the reality is, regardless what you do not have today at this time, you do have a vote. As long as you are over 18, you do have a vote. And that vote is what gives these jobs. And with that being said, I think it's time that we talk about homeless services one more time so that Kwame Brown can be aware of exactly what's going to take place. So if we could, I would like for our speaker, Mr. Black, Mr. O.B. Black is going to come forward and speak once again, answering the question, where will we sleep?
I'm O.B. Black. I'm not speaking solely for myself. There are hundreds of other people that need shelters, that need affordable housing. Affordable housing would, in fact, solve the homeless problem. Now, in 1968, after Dr. King passed, or got killed, we'll say, there were tent cities. And that's what this city is going to turn into if we don't save these benefits and shelters for people to live in. Now, also, after Dr. King's death, there were riots, or at least a riot. It was a terrible riot that affected a large part of the city.
That's right.
That can also happen. So you either go to jail now or you go to jail next year. And what we need to do is look at 9,000 dogs, cats, hamsters, birds, and other animals have shelter here in the city. And you mean you can't shelter humans? Well, that's a problem. That's a contradiction. And there are a lot of contradictions in what the council is saying and what actually exists. Now, what we need to do is, like the sister said earlier, stick together, band together, and keep fighting for what's ours. We elected these people to serve us. It's like a lawyer. When you get a lawyer, he's supposed to work in your interests. These city council people are supposed to work in our interests. And if we don't force them to do what's right, they're going to do what's wrong. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
Just one more thing. Money's available. And if these council people's mother was on the street, I think they'd change their tune. They change the tune when you got somebody that you really care about. The Washington Post said the first week in this month, there was a meeting of billionaires in Tucson, Arizona. These billionaires, including Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, were finding out ways in which they could give their money away. Money is available. You have grants, you can have a lottery for the homeless. There are 1,000,001 ways, and a lot of people that are advocates for the homeless have expressed that over the last few weeks. Keep fighting, and we're winning.
So now that we do have Chairman Kwame Brown here in our presence, we have two presentations that we would like to make for him. We would like Deanna from 1DC to come forward and present to him the accurate survey results from DC constituents, reflecting the desire to restore funds to the safety net. And of course, we'll be more than happy to give Chairman Brown, where are you at, Ms. Deanna? I'm coming. Okay, we're trying to get her to the front. There's such a large contingent. Yay for not being able to make it to the front.
You know, I'm from Southeast, so I could bust through.
Yes, me too, honey. They call it East of the River now.
So with the attempt to engage the community in the budget process, 1DC members decided to take the online survey that Mayor Gray had put online with his attempt to engage the community, and we went out and hit the streets. So I want to present to you. This is our summary called The People Speak on the City Budget. We did Outreach Award 2 and 7 and 8. It asked some of the very same questions that Mayor Gray asked, but looking at the fact that the survey was put online. So how many people from the community actually have access to the internet to be a part of this process or can make it down to council meetings and testify before the council. So we wanted to make sure that the people that were really being hurt by this budget process were included. So I'm going to share these results with you, and you've also heard all of the stories from the people that are here. And I just want everyone to give the people that were part of that hit the streets and got this and collect this information and data. Just if you put your hands up, we got Bill right here. Right there. And we got a few people in the back. But I thank you everyone for being here. But just making sure that this budget is the purpose of the city budget is to include the people that are being impacted by the process and make sure their voices are heard. So we know that you all are out here today to make sure that happens. Thank you.
And lastly, Chairman Brown, we know that it was your #1 priority to remove the tax increases from the mayor's budget. And we want you to know that DC has spoken. In fact, they shouted that we do want to share the burden and restore our safety net. So we've brought you some dollars here from your voters to help you. Remember when you decide to make that vote, that money is necessary to restore safety net services. Not build homes we can't afford to live in, not build businesses that won't employ us, but to restore our safety net services. And with that being said, we want to thank you, and we will conclude our safety net tour by letting you all know that we will be meeting tomorrow at Bread for the City. I'm so sorry. I apologize. We would like to have Chairman Kwame Brown speak. After that, I'll let you know what's next.
No, I figured I should be able to say something.
Yes, I apologize.
I mean, come here and first of all, let me thank you for coming out and continue to advocate and make sure that we restore and look at how we treat not only our homelessness here, families and men and women, but making sure that the least of us have every opportunity to participate and get up off our feet so we can make sure that they can have a good quality of life. And I want to thank you so much for coming inside of this building, going to every single member's offices, and really making your voice heard. Let's give yourselves a round of applause because this is important. You're here for a reason, right? Am I right? You're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're here is because you want restored the homeless services, the TANF and the IDA. You want some of that restored that was cut.
And more taxes.
Let me ask you a question. Can I talk?
The voucher program.
Yeah, I support the voucher program.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I support the voucher program. Every child should have quality education here in the District of Columbia, no matter what. But you're here for Ash. You're not here saying, if I understand it, you want the safety net programs restored. You want homelessness services that was reduced. You want the TANF that was reduced. You want the IDA that was reduced. You want to make sure the families and the homeless men, you want some of that reduced. I mean, restored. Is that correct?
That's correct. Housing Production Trust Fund.
You want it restored. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's the ask, right? You want
It's a demand.
And progressive revenue is also part of it.
Now, see, I'll let you guys talk. Let me talk. I just have a question. Like, I'm asking about the homeless service.
If we ask, we have to answer you.
I'm sorry?
If we ask, we have to answer you.
Yeah, no, I do. I have a problem. You know I don't have a problem with that, Eric. Come on. Come on, Eric. You don't have a problem with that. I just want to be clear because there's a lot of different asks. And as a group, you're asking a number of different things. And I want to go through them so I'm clear when I walk back through this door of what the ask of the group is. Is that okay?
I'll be glad to.
Now,
If you want me to respond now, I'll be glad to answer that question. Thank you. If you don't agree with anything I'm saying, I invite you to raise your hand, but I would like to answer the chairman's question as our tour guide. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
it's okay to ask a question, right?
Chairman Brown, we are asking as DC residents and voters that you fully restore our safety net here in Washington, DC. We are also asking that you implement progressive revenue, including the mayor's income tax brackets, if not surpassing the mayor's income tax brackets. One moment so that he can hear, and if some people don't disagree, because we have several different asks, we can respond. And so that in that regard, every year, as it has been in 4 years, Human Services has taken the brunt of those cuts. Therefore, if we introduce progressive revenue, namely new income tax brackets, we will not have to have that problem next year, or the year after that, or the year following. We will instead be able to give ourselves one DC, which is not a second DC that has haves and have-nots, but a one DC that is comprehensive and reflective of the diversity of the people who live here. That's it, and that is all. Are we in agreement?
Yeah. I think it's important to tell you where I am, and we're going to continue our deliberations, but we're going to do everything we can to restore the cuts that came down in the budget for the homeless families, for the men and women, for the TANF, for the IDA. We're going to do everything we can to get that back to where it was. That's my commitment. My commitment, I'll be clear, my commitment is not, no, I will not introduce a budget that will propose to raise taxes on DC residents, but I will propose a budget.
What about the super millionaires? Why can't you raise taxes on the big millionaires?
Well, that won't be a proposal for me. But what will be proposal for me is to ensure that we restore a lot of the cuts that were put in the budget, and those cuts that came down will be restored. And that's what I'm working on, restoring the cuts. And if we can restore the cuts without raising taxes, that's what I'm prepared to do, and that's what I'm working on. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So where are you going to find $60 million?
So we have several people who have asked Chairman, if you all could listen for just one moment, we have several people who've asked Chairman Brown, since he's been working behind closed doors, since the mayor proposed his budget on April 1st, what he proposes to do to get that money. Would you like to answer that?
Mr. Brown, how do you propose to get the money? I just want to know, because realistically, can you be honest with us? Because it's not going to come out of thin air. How are you going to get it?
Well, we know it's not going to come out of thin air, and that's what we're working on right now. And that's we're going through the budget process as we speak.
Speak up, please.
We're going through the budget process as we speak. We're going to do every single thing I can to restore, as I just mentioned, all the homeless services. Look at the TANF, look at the IDA. That is a commitment that I have to this group to do.
But where's the money going to come from? Where's the money going to come from?
All I would like to do is finish. At the end of the day, if you don't do that without cutting any other services, I think that's when I hear from people, that's what they want, to make sure that that's restored. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that happens.
Is that a promise?
You didn't answer the question. Where is the money going to come from?
Is that a problem? Is that a problem?
Chairman Brown.
Is that a problem?
Excuse me, everyone, if we can calm down, if we can please calm down. Because if we can please calm down. Although you may not have been pleased with the comments by Chairman Brown, you will be pleased that Save Our Safety Net DC, as well as our partners, do have another opportunity for you all to come. We can plan what our next steps will be, since Chairman Brown is not quite sure what his next steps will be.
I mean, it was a really big turnout. It was more folk than I ever imagined being in this building at one time. And I mean, several different nonprofits all came together, and then the homeless people came together, and concerned citizens, and there's just a massive influence of people here who are all concerned about saving the safety net, about saving benefits for those who don't have any money while they're waiting for SSI to come through, about saving programs that prevent homelessness, that are designed to end homelessness through the creation of affordable housing, that are designed to maintain the homeless through the creation of shelter and so forth. And so, I mean, I'm really amazed at this outcome. I didn't think this was possible. You know, in the past, I've been a little dismayed at the low turnout when you try to get homeless people to come out and advocate for themselves. But wow, I mean, this seems to be a real turning point. And like, I think we rounded the corner here, and let's see if we can maintain this energy. All right, I'm loving it. Thank you.
Push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under.